It's Edge Radio Australia. I'm naughty. Look at me go.
You are very naughty.
Very
I've
naughty
got to be
indeed.
very quick.
Oh, jeez.
It is indeed. Thank you for joining us on The One Thing on Edge Radio Australia, wherever you're watching or listening from all over the world. It's fantastic to have you here. I just wanted to acknowledge my beautiful co-host, Leanne Jones from Panasea Healing, and the man himself, Aaron Malloy from Edge Radio.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
And Leanne, I would absolutely love for you to introduce our special guest, Paul, today, who's going to be helping us open Pandora's box.
Ooh, where's the box? Okay, so I'm going to speak this way. Paul and I met through one of my very long time friends who I've been friends with since high school, and we've recently sort of in the last few years sort of got back together again. So we're sort of in the same boat. But Paul is an amazing person. He's soul-led as far as I know. He comes from the heart. I'm going to read out a little bit about him. So he has an this is something I didn't know, right? You were very, very sneaky. He's an international #1 bestseller of Soul Love.
Oh,
Yes.
Co-author.
Co-author, okay.
Very humble.
He is a web designer and creator using Wix and Squarespace platforms. He is passionate about building you a website to help you unleash your vision and amplify your impact. So, and I believe that you do this with the person, Paul, and this is what I do know, and you empower that person to actually take control of their own website and their own business, which I love. I think that empowerment is really, really important. Some of the key areas that we're taking the lid off include, Lisa, do you want to go through that one, or?
Yeah, or we can just
keep-
or we can just surprise people with the key points.
Do you want to surprise people?
Yeah, I think so. But what I would really love to do first is I would love for people to understand more about Paul Marwood.
Yep.
And he didn't know we were going to do this, but
I've got a few questions too. No, kidding.
because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. That's
Yeah.
something that we're all very passionate about as part of the Worldwide Awake Business Network. And you're certainly a person that is extremely likable, extremely generous, and we're also grateful for how you have come and contributed to both the community for the Worldwide Awake Business Network directory and also Edge Radio. For those of you who don't know, Paul was actually behind the camera taking photographs at our last Pitch and Pizza. And he's actually put his hand up to help next time. So I think that collaboration that you're talking about with websites is just so on point for you. So if you would, are you comfortable just opening up a little bit about your past life before we even get not that past
don't
life?
go back that far.
Not that past
You
life.
want to go
We
back?
don't want to go back.
We've got about 45 minutes,
That's
Paul.
the wrong show. Tell us about how you came to be the #1 seller co-author of Soul Led.
Well, honestly, the book it's a wonderful book. Honestly, I would recommend it to anyone in the sense if you want some nice reading to go to sleep. Not those boring go to sleep. It's just it's basically there's 12 authors and we each share a turning point story in our lives, something that really shifted who we are and what we learned out of it. And I think the beautiful thing about it is anyone that purchases the book, you'll definitely resonate with a few of the authors. You know, you won't necessarily resonate with everyone, but it's just kind of those beautiful heart. All of the stories really come from the heart, and and so hence Soul Love, and it's just really heartwarming stories that's perfect to go to sleep to. Because
Authentic.
Aaron needs
Authentic?
things to go to
Oh,
sleep,
I
don't
definitely
you?
need things to go to sleep too. I have a few issues.
But he
in that
doesn't
department.
read, Lisa. He doesn't
I don't read, no.
Is it on Audible?
It isn't, unfortunately.
Well, he can read,
It's
but he
in-
does't.
So what
Kindle
can
and
Paul? I'll give you the address. Come to my place and just read to me as I go off to sleep.
That's weird.
That'll work.
That's really weird.
Hey, I'm a weird cat. Okay, what can I say?
It puts you in a good mind space.
I
So
like
when
that.
you go to sleep, you want to be in that nice mind
Yeah.
space as opposed to that sort of stressed or worried
Yeah,
mind space.
agreed,
And so
entirely.
something like that you know, when you've watched the movies, you like the feel-good movies.
Yeah,
and
of course.
it ends
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You've got
Now,
the same
I
thing.
don't want you to give it away, but I'm curious, right, about your part in this book. Give us a sneak peek of that pivotal moment that you were writing about in that book.
Well, I think for me, it was a very serious car accident that really technically should have killed me. That didn't.
Wow.
I was on the side of the road and a car collided at almost 100 k's an hour with my car, and but anyway, that's not the important piece. But
Yeah, it is. It is.
He's a car nut.
Yeah, I'm a car nut. Like, you know, we've all got our car stories.
well, okay, I was wearing a 4-point racing harness at the time, and my seat was only this wide, but somehow I was walking around perfectly in one piece afterwards. So how do you
Really?
explain that?
No, how do you
The
explain that?
paras were going, well, what's
Oh, you're giving me
It's not
goosebumps.
your
And there was
time.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with the belts. There was nothing broke.
Yeah.
Everything was completely intact.
Yeah.
Wow. I definitely want to know more.
You see,
But-
this is another
yeah.
show
Yeah, it
altogether,
is, it
right?
is.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's go with your story. I mean, you're here. Why not?
But honestly, it just really created a shift. So I went from the left brain engineering world of just, you know, formulas and computers and stuff
Yep.
to really a sort of a hard awakening. And suddenly looked at life very differently. And really, it just shifted my perspective in a major way very quickly.
Of course.
And some of the little pieces, and I won't sort of give it away, but the cool thing about writing a book is it really gets you to think about things in a deeper way
Yeah.
that you've never thought
Imagine.
of before.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's something that even I learned stuff in writing for my chapter in this book.
Okay.
About, for me, it was the stages of the awakening that happen as literally as the vibration moves through in our awakening of our, you know, chakras and things like that.
Sure.
And the stages of the awakening and the awareness. But the awareness actually came more for me when I actually wrote it than at some of the times when
Wow.
I think that's something really cathartic about getting it down on paper and writing it out, because it's making it real, right? It's not just a memory or a story you're telling yourself. It's actually becoming a real thing in front of your eyes.
I'm actually thinking that we probably need just to honour Paul, because I did say to him, he agreed to come on the show as a guest, and I said, "What would you like to talk about?"
Sorry.
So I think
it was only a quick one.
I think he might actually come back, and hopefully we can talk him into discussing that. We probably need to honour you and our audience who have tuned in to find out about how they can build their brand with websites. Is that okay with everybody?
All right. I want to talk about cars.
It's going to go on a tangent otherwise.
I know. So how did you become so passionate about building people's websites?
Well, honestly, I think for me, starting off being an electrical electronic engineer, then having control system engineering company, and then running an international business, I was always looking after the computer side of things. And so the computers was just a natural progression. And then honestly, going on from there, you know, the website piece, you know, I've built and looked after websites for so many years now. And I was in the WordPress arena for all of those years.
Right. And you still have your hair. Well done.
Yes.
Right.
Not much though. Not much. So honestly, in that part, it was a natural progression to help build people's websites, because I really want to be in service, you know. So I want to be able to help people, and that's where you sort of touch on about the empowerment piece, because so many people don't like the technology. If I can show you how to use the technology a little bit, but pick something that's simple, you know. Don't get me wrong, WordPress is an amazing platform. It still dominates the arena. But I think the latest stat that I read is Weebly, Wix, and Squarespace now have 56% of the websites in the world.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So they're now starting to dominate.
Okay.
And in a way, from my side, I've seen both sides. I think rightly so, because they're easier. And you really want to create an easier solution. Most of us, life's too complicated already. We don't want to make it more complicated.
Radio station that I used to be ops manager for, we had WordPress on our site, and oh man, did we burn through some IT stuff. No one wanted to work with it, and all I found that, and again, it's brilliant when it's working well and when you really understand it. But yeah, look, life is, there's so much going on. We're sort of torn in so many different directions. Time is precious. So the Squarespace and the Wix obviously are a lot more user-friendly.
Yeah,
Big
they
benefit.
are. And I mean, especially for people that are in like either solopreneurs or very small business or something like that. And like you want to get on with what you're passionate about. You know, like yourself, Leanne, you know, with what you're doing with flow and therapy and ASEA and all those sorts of things. you want to focus on that. You don't want to have to manage the technology.
No, yeah.
So to me, my passion is to be able to work with you and help you where you need help, but also help you with some of the business components.
So this is something that's really interesting for me because I'm going through that process, and I wanted to go down the WordPress route. SEO is apparently WordPress is better with SEO. Does that ring true?
You know, it could be true today, but probably may or may not be true tomorrow. I mean, that's the world we're living in changes so fast.
Yeah.
It could be a true statement.
Okay, so is WordPress that hard to work with that someone that has a small amount of knowledge with computers and has done a little bit and has been taught a little bit, that it makes that process difficult, whereas something like Wix, is that more technical? Like, is WordPress so much more technical that the layman won't be able to get it, or what do you think? What's your thoughts there?
If we just answer it in SEO, for example,
Yeah.
with WordPress, there's some plugins that you can do that help you with some of the way.
Okay.
But essentially, you're on your own. You've got to understand SEO itself. You've got to understand what you've got to do, and you've got to go in and you've got to add alt tags and create your map and everything else, and send that to export that to Google and all those sorts of things. You've got to do it. Whereas the cool thing with something like Wix is there's a little wizard, and you just enable the wizard, and the wizard will talk you through each little step, and it even goes to the point of highlighting each page.
Oh, wow.
And this is what's wrong with this page. Click here to fix it.
Good old Harry Potter to the rescue.
Yes.
Look at
Wow.
that. Hey, that
That's
is amazing. I did not know that.
Is there a price difference?
Honestly, it's probably, depending on what you're going to build in WordPress, it's probably cheaper with the Wix Squarespace scenario, because you're really mostly just looking at one subscription price. And whereas once you start to add all of the other plugins for WordPress, and then your website person that's got to update it every week or two and update all the plugins, and so you've got to keep paying for that maintenance.
And so for those people who don't know what plugins are, can you
Sure.
Elaborate on that a little bit?
Cool. So you've got WordPress is like the core engine, so to speak, that gives you your website. But then if you want to add events, or you want to add some special calendar things, or you want to have a membership site, and you want your website to do some cool things, that needs a plugin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So most of us have got to have these little plugins to make the core WordPress engine do these extra things.
Whereas the others have it built in there?
Well, it in a sense it's the same. You can add apps in Wix to do extra things, but the good thing about it is kind of that's a little bit like the old-fashioned Apple days, where the apps are mostly within the Wix arena and it's mostly controlled, so it all tends to work, and it works fairly seamlessly, and it works quite good. Like if you want to have your Instagram feed at the bottom of your website or something like that, you just go into the Wix store, so to speak, and you go, I want this one. And some of them you pay for and some of them are free.
Yeah.
But you get some really good ones free, and you can just pop it in, and then it automatically says, oh, here's your Instagram, and you click on it and you say, well, I want it down here, and you pop it in and you say, oh, well, actually I want it as a nice little carousel, and I want it to move past, and I want it
Sounds
to move
like
at a certain
fun.
speed. It is.
It can be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because you've got Wix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, as far as my computer literacy, I often will joke about the fact, that I'm struggling to find the any key.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Escape key is the key.
Oh, look, control
And
of
yet you start a digital radio
Exactly.
station. You're a really good example, actually.
Well, smart guy I am. But I still type like this. I mean, honestly, like a woodpecker. I've got no idea. I'm really slow. But I use Wix, and I actually quite enjoy it. And I do enjoy start a radio station, because I love the creative side of things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for me, I actually enjoyed, even though the IT, I feel a little bit out of, control of it. Well, yeah, maybe not. But the creative side is so good with Wix that I can actually do that. I can change things on the run, and there's suggestions and things that make it work for me. So I actually I love when I've got a little bit of time and I can actually do some things. But I don't also need to be a computer whiz to make it work.
Well, actually, you're smarter than, no disrespect to anyone else, but you're smarter than the average person because you
really?
realize what your strengths are and what they're not. And you've chosen a tool that's going to work with you.
Yes.
And allow you to do what you want to do, and you allow you to be creative and everything else. And you know the limitations, and so you're already a step ahead of most people in the game.
So are there any pros to having a WordPress site, in your opinion and your expertise, other than possibly SEO, as we've discussed?
I mean, I think if you want to have a really sophisticated website that's going to do some really cool things, and I used to have something like that in my previous, one would say, lifetime, we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, then WordPress does come into its own because it can be more powerful.
Okay.
You know, you can have things like LearnDash, and so you can have a really a more sophisticated learning experience for your students.
Okay.
And when they sign in and they select a course, it'll highlight what courses they've paid for and what they haven't, and you can do some really cool things.
Okay.
And you can still do that in the Wix and Squarespace arena. You just start having to write code. So then, then you start to
Can't do
go
that.
into that
Yeah.
side. where you've got to
Click
write
and
code.
drag is what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't know. I want to ask a little quick question as far
Yeah.
as Panasea Healing. Okay.
Yeah.
So did Paul give you a hand with your?
Oh.
How'd that work?
No, I have another web designer that I've known and for quite a while through WABN. But I did reach out to Paul because he helped me with a little something for Edge Radio Australia.
Oh, jeez, that was slick. Let's press the button to see what happens.
Is pain holding you back? Bowen Therapy with Panasea Healing can change that for you. It's never too late to recharge your health, career, or purpose. You have the power within yourself to change what no longer serves you, taking your life and health to another level. PanaseaHealing.com.au. You can do anything.
I've got too many questions. That's my problem.
Oh, look at that. We're chatting away in the background here. That is great. What a good video, honestly.
Yeah.
Just something so simple, though. Yeah.
I know, it is. And you know what? I didn't have to worry about it. It was nice. It's like Paul asked exactly the right questions. What do you want? How do you want it to look? You know, what's the style? You know, all that sort of stuff.
I wish a date would ask me that.
Maybe we need Paul to design a little, you know,
I'm gonna
video
guess,
on that.
I'm
Lisa.
going to guess, Lisa, that they do. You just don't like the answers. But there you go.
I've actually written down 10 questions for our dating night.
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell you what they are later.
It's dating. It's not a quiz. Oh, I don't know.
It's going to be a quiz.
Oh, Jesus.
It's going to be a quiz.
You feel
I'm
like
going to
you-
test some on you.
Oh, please don't. I feel like I'm filling in a MyGov website instead of answering a question about dating. I'm
funny.
actually looking forward. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think, what are we talking about? The first? Is the first?
1st of April,
First
yeah.
April, not
Over
too far
40,
away.
over 45s. Do you qualify?
Hang on, 1st of April.
Not emotionally, no.
1st of April, just saying.
Yeah, I know. I love the humour of that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, right? It really is. And
Yeah.
So, no, look, guys, girls, get involved with that. I think the tickets are selling pretty quick, so
Yeah.
grab them when you can.
Yeah.
I want to ask Paul another question about
Yeah.
all the smaller, you know, not WordPress, but the Wix and the Squarespace and all of them. Weebly, is that one? Weebly. Which is the better one?
Ooh.
If you've got people out there looking to do their website, what would you recommend?
Well, honestly, I've chosen to focus more on the Wix and Squarespace arena. It's a great question, Leanne. If you're a photographer, something like Squarespace is a little bit better if you're into art and photography.
Yeah.
And then if you tend to be more of a solopreneur for other sorts of things and you want to have your customization, Wix is a little bit more customizable.
Okay.
And Squarespace potentially has a cleaner, little bit, maybe you could argue professional look. I would argue against that statement, but it has that sort of cleaner look, but it's also, everything just clicks to certain squares,
Right.
Whereas in Wix, you can move everything to the pixel, so to speak.
Right.
So there's a bit more flexibility and you could do a little bit more.
Okay.
And if some of my clients, for example, that really don't like technology, I would, if it fitted their scenario, I would probably pick Squarespace for them for that, because
Okay.
then they're more than likely going to get themselves they're not going to get themselves into trouble.
No, you just
Okay.
you just said exactly what I was going to ask you. You said I would pick. So you basically have a discussion with them, ask them qualifying questions, and then using your expertise and knowledge, you guide them as to what's going to suit their situation best.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I try and help my clients whatever steps through the process too. You know, if they struggle with colors or fonts or
Yep.
things
Right.
like that. You know,
Yeah.
and I bring up lots of different other websites. You know, some of which would be WordPress. You know, and show this is what this person does, and this is the benefits. And you know, and I recommend for here we have serif fonts for headings and or statements, and we
Yep.
go,
Sure.
you know, only use sans serif fonts for the main body work because it's much easier to read.
Yep.
You know, and things like that. And so, you know, really, I'm trying to encourage you and help you each step of the way.
One of the things that I wanted to share was when I started the we weren't always called Worldwide Awake Business Network. We used to be called Perth Awake Business Network, I think, Leanne, was that
Yeah,
right? We changed
yeah,
the name a couple of
yeah.
times as we've actually morphed over the years. But one of the things back in those days, and Leanne spoke to a lot of the people that were wanting to join the group as well. And one of the things I heard very, very commonly was that, oh no, I need a website, I need a website, I need a website. And people weren't going out and they weren't actually building their businesses because they had this belief that they needed a website. I personally think you need customers first before you even start with a website. But because so many people have that mindset, I think how amazing it is if somebody like yourself can set something up that's basic and isn't a big investment. And I'm guessing, and this is where I'm going with this, is that somebody could possibly invest a small amount of money initially just to have a homepage. Because if that's their belief system that they can't grow a business or they're not a real business until they have a website, and then they could add on to it. Would that be a true statement?
Absolutely, 100%. And actually, thank you for bringing that up because, you know, honestly, sometimes people do have this concept that they really got to have a website. And, you know, that's not really true because what is it? Who are you and what do you want to give? You know, your business is really an extension of you. So sometimes it's better to just have the audience, have the people. You know, you might be great at just talking and building up a network of people and doing that. And then you don't need the website, you know, so there's that side of things can work for you.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate on this one, which I do actually agree with what you said. You don't always need one, but in this day and age, it is your shop front. Okay, it is so often your website is your bricks and mortar of your business. So it's nice to have something that's personalised, something that's you.
You can do something else though. That's for people that are just starting out. And that is Linktree, where you can just have your little links in there. You know, like
true.
a link to book. You know, you have your Calendly link, which a Calendly is free. You know, book your appointment if you've got only one, you know, appointment slot. So you can do it really, really simply if you want to. If you want that shop front, but I get where Paul's coming from is because if you're networking with people and you've got a phone number, that's all you need.
Yeah. And let's not forget, okay, ultimately, you know, customers, and certainly in a lot of businesses, it's face to face. I mean, I know this is very hard for
Oh my gosh.
millennials.
Face to face.
Okay, caution, this could be confronting. You may have to talk to people, right?
You don't have to text.
Look, I think it really depends on what your business is. But if somebody were to come to Paul, I feel quite confident, Paul, that if somebody were to come to you and they didn't have any customers, then you perhaps might say to them, look, you know, maybe now it's not the right time. But one of the things I really wanted to talk about was energy, and that was a turning point for me when I had a what's the word for it when you have a realization? There's a fancy word for it.
An epiphany.
That's it.
the one.
That's it.
Epiphany.
When I had epiphany.
She spat on me all the way from over there. Look at that. You got the pay.
And I had the epiphany that energy is everything.
It is.
Absolutely everything. And I love the way that you said that you love to work with energy when you're building a website. So tell us about that.
How does that look?
Great question. I mean, really, it isn't a look, it's more of a feel.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think, as I mentioned before, you know, your business is an extension of yourself. So it really needs to be an extension of your essence. And again, it's not just about me. I'm encouraging people out here to look, whoever you've got as your web designer or tech person, you know, look into whether they can allow create an extension of you, because that's the whole idea. If you want to create a nice warm soft feeling, if you want to have a very feminine feeling, if you want to have a tech feeling or a car feeling, you want to be able to exude who you are onto that platform, and then your people can connect, because remember, you want your people to connect with you.
Yes,
You
I don't want my web designers people to connect.
Yes.
Great point.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want my people to connect.
It's about it's about your demographic. It's about your who you attract. Yeah.
Handy if your web designer is one of your people. I mean,
Yes.
just to have that cohesive sort of thing going on. That relationship, I think, is really important. Anybody who doesn't share your core beliefs, and I'm not saying you can't do business with people who aren't exactly like you, but gee, it makes life a lot easier.
Oh, it really does.
It really does.
It really does. Because otherwise you don't feel like you're being interpreted correctly. You feel like you're saying something, but they heard something completely different.
But on that note as well, and this is kind of the things that I might use myself, and that doesn't mean to say that everyone else is like that, but I try and encourage my clients to be a part of working with me when I create stuff.
Yeah, that's so
So
cool.
I might build part of the page for them. They might give me some drawings and some images and some words, and I start to put it together for them. But then I encourage them to jump on and actually start to do the tweaks themselves.
Like that.
And there's two benefits in that. One, it helps get them engaged, for starters, so then they get to put their look and feel as they want. And it's amazing when you start to play, it starts to gel. But I want it to gel for them, not for me, because you don't want your web builder's page, you want your page.
100% agree.
And then at the same time, they're making mistakes and learning, and so when we finished building their website, they're already proficient in using Wix or Squarespace.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then they don't need my help.
Yeah.
Which is
So you've
what I
been
want,
training them on the job?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I want to empower people. I
Yeah,
don't want to make myself
Empowering
center
people
of-
is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. I'm guessing that you deal with people from all walks of life and all different age groups. Have you ever built a website for somebody that wouldn't even know how to do a virtual meeting, and you have to talk them through that whole process as well?
Leave me out of this. Jeez.
Not quite to that extreme, but relatively close.
Yeah.
And so, I've had people just draw stuff for me on paper and send me stuff, or they do it all on paper and then.
By pigeon?
Well, not quite, but they have. We've succeeded to the point where they've done it all on paper and they've taken photographs on their phone.
Yeah.
Right.
And sent me the photographs.
They're artists?
No, actually, they. One, for example, though she is good with tech, but landscaper.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that would make sense. Yeah.
So she works with her
creative,
hands.
yeah.
She's creative.
Exactly.
Yeah, she did it all on paper and then
Yeah.
just took photos and sent me the photos. And I was like, okay, we can work.
I
with
love that idea of somebody actually walking in, looking at my garden and kind of sketching it out.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world's changed so much over the years. So back in the day, when I was a boy, back in my motorsport days, right, we used to have to literally get pictures of the car from brochures and things like that, and
He's going to
literally.
bring the cars back in, wasn't he?
Well, of course, got to find some way of getting it. Watch this happen,
He's
right?
got to. He's got to do it.
Later.
Slide it in.
But I used to go, and we used to even have to pay artists to do renderings and things like that. So I mean, if you're going to a sponsor saying, "Hey, invest in our team," you want to actually give them something that looks professional. Now, that used to cost a lot of money. It was a lot of effort because you'd have to pay for the renderings. You'd have to do this and that, whatever. Now the tech is so fantastic. This sort of thing can be streamlined, and this I'm kind of getting on the fact that you can flow this onto your website. You can show your products. You can portray yourself, and you can sell your goods, quite frankly, in such a great way. And having someone who understands the tech and has the creative side too, and that's something that's very clear in yourself, right? Because great to have the tech side, okay, but if you don't have the creative side, you shouldn't be doing websites.
Yeah, so do you help people sell stuff on that note?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. But honestly, it's nice to make it look nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one example, one of the websites that I worked with, the lady, Jasmine's her name, we talked about some videos and things like that, and she's very, very creative herself, very artistic, and she just launched into the videos, and she's created incredible videos, and she's changed the whole energy of the site.
Really?
And it's very artistic and it's beautiful. You know, the backdrops, we've got videos playing in the background.
Oh,
and she filmed all that
wow.
because I wasn't anywhere near her. We do this all remotely.
Wow.
Right. She did all herself. She's a brilliant
Did you
job.
feel very proud?
Well, I'm just a small piece.
Yeah, that's
to
what I
give her
mean,
some
but
suggestions. She
you-
did it all.
Being
Yeah.
able to gift
Yeah.
that to someone
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
it themselves, I think you'd
Yeah.
have to feel a little bit of sense of,
Well,
pride.
in
Yeah.
in
I
being
love
able to
helping
do
people.
that. And
Yeah,
said,
yeah, you
know,
really do. And I love the fact that there was no, because there are controlling people out there,
Oh.
and there are people that would have thought, oh, they've gone and changed it all. Like I built that,
Yeah.
so I just love that you. Yeah, I
I'm
think
going
it's
to
great.
attach myself to a comment you said earlier, which I've been wanting to bring up. You said about being in service, okay,
Yeah.
and I think that marks the difference in you, really does. So many people don't realise that, and we've got politicians who are supposed to serve the people, don't serve the people. I think you've got to be a particular kind of person. If you're going to do this well, you need to be a person of service. I like that.
How would the world be if everyone was in service
Be amazing.
to one another?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it really would.
So
Well,
just
we're
getting,
starting a trend.
we are indeed.
Give me the
Let's
go.
start somewhere, haven't
Yeah.
we?
So just getting back to selling stuff.
Well,
Just,
before you
just
do that,
say-
let me sell something. You're just talking about working together. Let's go to this little video here.
Ever felt lost online finding the right businesses?
Absolutely, like a needle in a haystack.
Introducing the Worldwide Awake Business Directory.
Tell me more.
It's your hub for businesses sharing your values. Discover eco-friendly products, socially responsible services, and more.
Count me in. I'll check it out straight away.
Find businesses aligned with your values on the Worldwide Awake Business Directory. Start making a difference with every purchase.
Okay, you're forgiven because you played the video for WABN Directory, which is okay. So what I was going to ask you was, in theory, going back to what you were saying before about selling stuff, if in theory somebody had a Wix website and they had T-shirts they wanted to sell, that would be the perfect place to do it because you can sell stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
The new range of Edge Radio merch is coming out.
And look at those shirts. They're
Look,
brilliant.
they stand out, don't
I
they?
didn't even wear mine
That's a
today.
good idea.
I wanted to match you, Paul.
Easy on the eyes.
Yeah,
You know, I wanted to
mine are
match you.
3D down the bottom, yours are 3D at the top. But there you go.
Lisa didn't even get it. I love that. I love that.
They don't. Do you know what the funny thing is, Paul? They think I'm really naive and I often don't get stuff, but they've got no idea.
No.
You do, but you just don't show it. You master it, not show
Yeah,
it.
it's kind of like whatever. Like,
She's
So much more funny.
Oh,
We're so much more funnier.
immature.
those two juveniles. I don't know.
We're so good.
Do you know one of our favourite shows? It just came to me then was the one we did on e-bikes. So for those of you who have only recently started following us, when we started the one thing, it was a different format. And we didn't have the video, and I used to stand up every episode because I still prefer standing, but it became a little bit of a nightmare,
awkward,
didn't it?
yeah.
Standing over
Logistical
there,
nightmare.
logistical nightmare, yeah. And then we took turns guessing. You never actually. We've still got to do his show where he gets the turn
know.
to choose.
Yeah,
So
good
mine
around that
was
one.
e-bikes, and you guys had to ask questions all the time. And I've still got this vision of you coming down Les Hill on your bike.
Ah, yes.
There you
yeah,
go.
Yeah.
With the spooky dokies doing it in the
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
It really was, actually. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and that's a great evolution of the show, and I think we had a lot of fun back then. We also introduced a lot of stuff that and conversations that I never thought I'd have, like 2-minute noodles. And things
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Two-minute noodles changed
my
your life.
I could see Leanne putting a sear on her batteries and on her e-bike, and they would go even further.
Oh, they
Oh,
would.
she would.
They would.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Full power.
Oh dear.
Okay, so we've done a lot about co-creation in the website building process. Where if you have a website that is already WordPress, for instance, would it be best to stay with WordPress, or would it be better to go with something else
Honestly, it's hard to answer.
if they want to change their website around?
Yeah, it's hard to answer that question because it really depends on how big a website and how complicated it is, and what they want to do. But honestly, in most cases, it's probably more cost effective to stay in the WordPress and do your tweaks accordingly. It's if it's a complete redesign and it's not a complicated website, then I would probably suggest jumping the fence and going to the.
And what if later down the track you wanted to incorporate things like courses and programs for people, and this it became a lot more than what this little small website would be capable of? Would that be then transferring that into WordPress, or would these Wix and Squarespace be able to cope with that?
They cope with all of that.
Oh, they do they?
Yeah, yeah, they do. I mean, that's the nice thing about it, and it doesn't, for the most part, doesn't cost you anything more. Sometimes you have to upgrade your subscription. So yes, actually, in that instance, it does, and also too, sometimes the if you subscribe at this level, you might have to pay a higher percentage of payments, and if you pay at a higher level, that amount is less. But you can just do the maths as to how much sales you get in the month, and then you reach that break point, and then you just upgrade to that next level.
One trick that got me, and I'm not happy, Jan, about this, and I needed some advice on it. Going in a little naive, I actually went and wow. Okay, if I pay it per month, it's this price. If I pay it per year, it's this price. But they had this big special. Pay it for 2 years and get this super duper duper price. Great, except after 2 years, I needed an ambulance because the heart attack, the price just shot up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do they, this is my naivety of not knowing about the packages and stuff, are there packages that are offered? Are there specials that are offered for people who are already part of the process, already have sites there? Is that a common thing, or you just have to wait for the specials and get lucky?
I mean, honestly, the specials, like in the Squarespace arena, they're having specials all the time.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Sort of, but in the order of about 20%.
Okay.
And sometimes you can get, I had a client that wanted me to help them build a website, but they got a really super duper deal on a WordPress arena. Okay. And they went down that path, because it just, the money spoke at the end of the day, and that's fine. Again, I'm more than happy to just sit down and help people understand what's best for them.
For them, yeah.
Good point.
As far as where you get bitten after 12 months or 24 months, unfortunately in that scenario, again, we're at the control of the platforms. If you're going to go down the platform piece,
sure.
You're probably a little bit more safer in the WordPress arena in that respect, because there's so many plugins. If there's something you want to do, you can always move to a different plugin. Like if you use Shopify or something like that, and then you want to go to WooCommerce, you might be able to jump that, but it's still going to cost you a whole lot of money to do all of the re-engineering to port it across. Yeah,
I'm not bitter. I mean, I got a hell of a deal, like a crazy. It was less. I think I paid literally 40% of the normal rate. It was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you
weren't prepared.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I had an experience where I had signed up for WooCommerce, and then all of a sudden I had like a lot of money come out of my account.
Yes.
And when you're running a small business, particularly a passion project like you and I both are, it's a big wallop.
Yeah. No, look. I mean, I think the Squarespace product, and I think the Wix products are excellent products. I haven't seen much of Squarespace. I've seen obviously plenty more of Wix, and I've seen and dealt with in the past with WordPress. To me, it's chalk and cheese rather.
Chalk and change.
I don't know where I came up with that. I'll just use it.
I like that.
Okay, it just patented that.
Yeah, chalk and change. I don't know what it means, but I like it.
It means I'm tired. But it's to me, you want user friendly. Okay, you want something that you can get help with easily. And I tended to find on certainly the two products of Wix versus WordPress, I found there was a massive difference in backup.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's on.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really about, and that's what I'm encouraging the audience to, do your homework and do some research, because to me, honestly, if you're not into technology and you want to be able to focus on your business and be good at what you want, but have a website that can help you in the background, and it's not the be all and end all, as we said, I completely agree with that. But if you want something that's easy, that you doesn't, make it complicated for you, and you don't have to completely rely on your web developer, then I would really encourage you to look at the platforms of Wix and Squarespace, because they do give you most of the solutions of what you need. And the only time, honestly, and this is again to be completely transparent, the only time you'd really do tend to need other things is like if you're doing your email marketing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted
then,
to ask as
then
well.
you need things like MailerLite, or I'm Constant Contact is what I use, but honestly MailerLite's probably one of the best ones at the moment.
And you help people with that too.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Paul.
We've obviously, we want to be able to sell merchandise for Edge and that sort of thing through the page at the moment. With my limited skills, I've made it basically so you click on the picture of the t-shirts and it'll take you to the link and off you go. But having said that, the person who is wonderful, who does our shirts, they've changed the link. Now these are things that you need to be you need to know
links.
about, and I wasn't aware of that. And you have to be on top of it all. So it's about, in a lot of ways, taking control of your own site. knowing what's there.
Yeah. Which, and when you're running a small business, there's an awful lot to do.
It really is.
So you like to empower people, but if somebody does want to pay you a monthly amount because they just want you to take care of it, would you do that as well?
Yeah.
Although that's not what you
I do.
normally do.
I
Okay.
like being completely, sort of literally like being in service. If you need me, just call me up and
Yep.
I can,
Yeah.
we can do it that way. Or if you want to have a particular package, we can do that. But, for the most part, it's just when you need me, just call me. And sometimes you do it yourself, and I
Yep.
encourage you to do it yourself.
And can people contact you all over the world?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, when I first started my business, because I've relatively recently come from the States, almost all of my clients were in the United States and Canada.
Yep.
So,
Well, that's rather interesting because right now there are so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people in America that are watching this show. That's the reality of it. We're very, very happy to have
We're
so many
so
American.
popular.
Oh, look at that. No, but it's great to have. Look at
It's
that. I mean, people on the other
fantastic.
side of
I
the
love
world.
it.
And they find something and value in what we do. I
I
love
just
that.
love it.
So we
Yeah.
will put your website link, or our helpers will make sure your link goes up with the show. But for anybody that's watching live, what is it, please?
well, actually, to tell the truth, and this is the funny thing that
Oh,
you will
I
have to go
love
through.
this. I love this.
Is this like the carpenter, builder, plumber
Yeah,
story?
this is that same story.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been so busy building other people's websites, and again, this is a good example of do you really need a website?
Well,
for your
clearly
business?
not.
Yeah, I enjoyed connecting with people.
Yeah.
I don't
There's no
have an official
website.
website.
Yeah.
There
For this
you
business,
go.
you know?
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
contact Leanne, Lisa, or Aaron,
Yeah.
or put a.
I've got a scheduler that has a landing
Yeah.
page, as we would
Okay,
say, and
yeah.
I use the landing page.
Yeah,
and
that's
do
fine.
that.
Well, you can share that with me afterwards, and then
Yeah.
we'll make sure that we.
I
We'll talk
love
about
that.
this.
See?
Yeah.
I've got a pool man. I know exactly what he's talking about. Our pool's green.
It's so true, though, isn't it? Like, that's how we kind of operate.
Yeah.
A mechanic's car will breaking down all the time, but it'll look great.
Yeah.
A panel beater's car will look bloody awful.
No,
you
we
know?
The interesting thing is that if I was having trouble in getting people,
Yep.
then I would have built a website.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you don't need to,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because
Yeah.
I have amazing.
Because you
people
have
like yourself.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
you have the amazing ability.
Now
Word
you're
mouth.
going to say we've come to the end of a show.
No, I'm not
Oh,
gonna say
bugger.
that. You just said it for us.
okay.
Look at that.
No, I can
Oh,
say that's what you were going to say, wasn't it?
I subtly hinted by pressing the button saying we're about to end. Yeah.
I just
'cause
want to
there you
say,
go.
first of all, before you go and end it all,
Yeah, and
I just want to
Take it
say,
so
Paul, thank you for coming in because you've really opened up everyone's eyes into
Yeah.
being able to take control of their own space, Squarespace or
Yes.
Wix, and that I don't know, it's just you've such a beautiful presence and so easy to talk to, and you're so easy to work with.
Yeah.
Like it was so that the process was seamless with the video. I highly recommend Paul. So everyone get on to Paul for anything you need.
Yeah, and Paul's been helping a lot as well as an extra person on the WABN directory.
Yes.
So
That's
I
fantastic.
And with Edge.
totally
And
second
Love
that.
you.
And
Photos
Edge, yeah.
and
All sorts
So
of
very, very grateful.
Well, I'm going to say something very hippie.
Yeah, but
Is this? Oh, sorry.
yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah.
like, as we finish, what I'd
Yeah.
love for you to do is there's a little video in there with
Oh,
a
okay.
whole lot of stories because it didn't come up when we had Robin and Martine on there.
Now, where would the
So
story be?
My eyesight's not the best. Can you
Okay,
see
I
it there,
can see
Leanne?
2 minutes,
There we go. I
38.
can see
Yeah,
the
so
word
if we
story.
can please, after you say goodbye, if you can just press that before you end it, I'd really appreciate it.
Am I allowed to say goodbye? Is that okay?
Yeah, you
Do I have
can
your
now.
permission, Lisa?
You can
I
now.
was just going to say the very hippie thing.
What's your hippie thing? Come on.
My hippie thing is this. Honestly, and this is the best way I can put it into words. When Paul enters the room, you do feel there's a difference in energy, and there's a calmness and a comfort, mate. And I personally really appreciate it. And I felt it when you walked in here today. And if you can translate to what that in your everyday life and also your business, get on board. That's all I can say. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I'm going to press this button and hit the video. I have no idea what you're about to watch, but please enjoy. This has been Edge Radio Australia, of course, the one thing.
Bye.
Trust in me, remember who you are, guiding, remembering the spark. Care for me, you're the only one who can. Loving me, remember who you are, connect with me. That spark that's deep within, remembering those whispers that you hear, nourishing those gifts that you do bear, grounding in the truths that have appeared. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember, remember. Ooh, remember, remember. Trust in me, remember who you are, guiding, remembering the spark.